Hey guys, Jay here, and today is going to be a video on the AFK Juggernaut character. This video is going to address a very common question that I have received since the moment that I put out the build guide video, which is the build going to survive in the next patch? And currently, I would say it's going to be very hard to make it work again. Okay, so let me explain. It's not like entirely completely dead yet, the dream of us as a character just stand in one place in the simulacrum. I think it is still doable, right? But we will need to make massive changes to the build, and let me walk you through the changes that are affecting our character, the AFK Juggernaut. So the first thing that I actually just talk about the nerfs, right? So the first thing is gonna be 1 second here, Flask. So the Ruby, Sapphire, Topaz Flask no longer grant 20% less damage taken. This is a very huge nerf because that is a unique modifier for damage taken that is exclusive to the Flask. If we have it on, say, a Mage Blood, then we can gain a lot of reduced elemental damage taken, basically. Is this build breaking? I don't think so. I have actually tried the build in the first state that I don't use any. I don't actually use any of the elemental flasks, so technically, it should work. You have 5% maximum resistance instead of the less damage taken, which makes our life easier if we just want to scale the maximum resistance. So the thing is, if you want to scale the maximum resistance to 90%, it is much easier now with the Flask providing 5% here. Of course, this is before all the Flask effect or everything. The second one, we need to work out the resistance a little bit more, because currently in the build we starve of a lot of resistance. So the base resistance from the Flask is reduced from 50 to 40% here. The second one is the additional elemental resistance during effects suffix basically got gutted by half, right? Previously it can roll up to 40%, right now it's only 20%, so maybe we will lack of resistance somewhere. I'm not sure exactly on where we can actually improve the resistances. Maybe we don't need the extra maximum endurance charge from our rings. It can just be life resistant rings. Why? Because with the removal of the charms itself, then we don't really scale the area of effect that hard with endurance charge anyway. So that is not necessarily the case where we need to push for just as many endurance charges as possible, because a lot of the nice bonuses of the endurance charge actually happen when we are at the maximum endurance charge, right? That is the first thing I want to address. This is bad for the build, but it will not break the build. I think we can still work around this. With this Flask changes, the build is still okay. It will be changed in some way to adapt to these changes, but it will be still okay, right? Next one, this is gonna be big. Okay, we have tattoos coming back, and it has certain changes. Remember, we are a build that does not benefit from any attributes, so we can abuse the crap out of all the tattoos, right? Resistant tattoo can actually solve our resistances, so this counteract the problem with the Flask and the resistances. So this can be very nice, right? So in terms of resistances, I think with the additional comeback of the tattoo, we actually can solve the resistances. Next one, this one is very big. This one is probably the biggest thing. So stun. Added a new energy shield mastery. 50% of your energy shield is added to your stun threshold, and this is the big part, which replace stun threshold is based on 60% of your energy shield instead of life. Now this is a rip, right? Because we can no longer rely on taking this mastery in particular and then just consistently get stunned because we have a tiny amount of energy shield pool. So all the hit, even the smallest hit, can actually stun the character. We can no longer do that. So the way around this, if we still want to use the same cast when stun setup, and let me show you the way around it. I actually found out the way around it already. So here, this is in my latest search history. Skyforth. This the drawback of this one is a pretty rare item, but currently, at least currently, right? Skyforth. Sorcerer Boots. Stun threshold is based on 50%, 500% of your mana instead of life. And this is the only other thing that can actually, not technically the only other thing, because we have the Oxium as well. This is the Oxium belt. I think this one this one is only chill effect and freeze duration now, so this doesn't matter. So stun threshold is based on 500% of your mana instead of life. So this is the other way for you to basically make your stun threshold based on something else but your life. So since we can no longer rely on the mastery, we kinda have to use these boots, right? So that removed the Ralakesh, but the Ralakesh, by the way, the Ralakesh got nerfed. But it got nerfed in a way that I think is fair. It just removed the 30% movement speed, so that build that boost is still extremely strong, by the way. But it does have a heavy drawback in terms of movement speed, so not all builds can abuse the heck out of it. If you need movement speed for your builds to feel good, you cannot use a boots without movement speed. So I think that's fair. You still use that one for a lot of builds. But in this case, we need to change the boots to the Skyforth here. Why Skyforth? Stun threshold is based on 500% of your mana instead of life. But Jay, you have a lot of mana, so 500% of that is 5 times the mana you have. Let's say you have 500 mana, that is 2,500. Well, my friend, simply take Blood Magic. Blood Magic, your mana will be 0, so everything that hits you when you have Skyforth and Blood Magic will still stun you. So that is the way around, the cast when stun nerf, basically. I think this is probably the only way you can still build a cast when stun character with Skyforth. Problem with Skyforth is, so here is the whole Affliction League. Oh, there is actually like 3,000 of it. Because Skyforth, I don't think anybody is using this particular item for anything right now. No build is using it. So it's pretty cheap. And I don't think it will get expensive because it only technically enable cast when stun right now. And I don't think that is a playstyle that is for everyone. So I don't think the price will be that high. However, this is a very rare drop item. Very rare drop item. So early on in the league, if you want to find a pair of this, it might be a little bit expensive. So keep that in mind, right? So the build needs to change. If you want to play the AFK Juggernaut, you need to build around Blood Magic. You need to build around Skyforth. And you need to be tanky in a different way, basically. Probably right now we will need to have the the Forbidden Jewels for Valaco Storm Embrace in order to be tanky enough for Simulacrum Wave 30. I'm not 100% sure, right? Let's wait for the next league. Let's wait until probably maybe early it will be my second character, but it can be the third one. Let's see when we will try to come back to play the AFK Chieftain. I mean the AFK Juggernaut, and I will try to make it work. I think, in my mind, I still think that it will work, at least for what it is right now. Remember, before and in the normal version, we have 83 in the version that was originally posted in the build guide. We have 82% maximum resistance for cold and lightning, and 83 for fire. So with the current changes to Skyforth is unfortunately a pure energy shield boot. So we can no longer take the one maximum elemental resistance from this. So we lose on 1% of all rest over there. But you still have 82, 81, 81 in terms of maximum resistance. You have the Flask. Now that gives 5% maximum resistance each. So that is already 87, 86, and 86. So if you take, this is 2% maximum. If you take all of this, you will be 90, 89, 89 in terms of maximum resistance. So my point is, it's not hard to reach not 100. It's not hard to reach 90% maximum resistance without the use of Valaco Storm Embrace. So you don't need the Forbidden Jewels anymore. So that would be a very nice thing, because the Forbidden Jewel for Valaco Storm Embrace is absolutely batshit crazy expensive, even before the build, right? Because it's just an insane node. So yeah, at least I think with the changes to the Flask, it's easier now for us to have a 90% resistant. We still have the extra layer of armor applying to fire, cold, and lightning damage from hits, which is here. We still have the 8% reduced elemental damage taken while at maximum discharges. So the one other thing that changed is the boot slot. So we no longer have the Ralakesh. The Ralakesh make our character consistently at maximum charges all the time. Jesus, how can I remove this? I hate this. The Ralakesh boots make our character at maximum endurance charge all the time, but we no longer need that, right? With that boot, basically all the thing that it enables the character to have is just the ability to use Immortal Coil. Immortal Coil is actually a very strong defense layer when it is active, but you don't really need Immortal Coil in order to survive. You can just change it to a different guard skill, basically. For example, because we have a ton of armor, then if you want to, you can just slap in a Molten Shell instead, and yeah, you have a lot of more effective hit pool, basically. Or you can even use Steel Skin. Max level Steel Skin is very nice. It adds basically extra hit pool as well. So yeah, basically you just need to remove the Immortal Coil from the build. Other than that, our character will almost always be on maximum endurance charge if we don't actually spend the endurance charges. So we will have all the benefits most of the time anyway. While mapping or while standing in Simulacrum, the only time we don't have the bonuses is the tiny window, like for maybe less than 1 second, because for Juggernaut you will gain maximum endurance charge in like less than 1 second getting hit or something. Most of the time, right? That. So yeah, that is not an issue. Is there anything else that can affect the build. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that actually affect the build. Very surprised that the detonate dead chain reaction does not get the nerf itself, but maybe because GGG addressed the issue with the cast when stunned, with the, I think it is mostly with the chieftain version. The MF chieftain, a lot of people are using cast when stunned with chieftain, and yeah. So that's it. So TRDR, the build might still be alive. It got hit pretty hard, but there are ways around it. At least the hard nerf of removing the stun mastery can be solved by using Skyforth. So there is still a way to play the build, right? It's just need a lot of rework in terms of balancing defenses in multiple ways, because there are changes everywhere from the Flask and everything. When I farm a Mage Blood in the next league, probably will take a while. I'll make the character, basically. Yeah, just a heads up, I'm not a particularly fast player in terms of starting a league. I normally try to take it in a steady pace. I don't really try to rush, like do 20 hours, 24 hours straight stream or something like that. At least with the current setup, with my family and everything, I am in the same room where my wife and kids also stay and sleep at night, so I cannot do any of those. I don't have my own room to do all this kind of crazy stuff. So for now, yeah, probably at least start I will be a slow starter. I will not I was not say probably, I will definitely not start the league at the T-0 time, basically. So when the league start, it is always in the middle of the night for me, so I will need to wait until the morning. I will need to get my wife to work, my kids to school, and then I come back probably around 8 to 9 p.m. EST, and then I can start playing there. Every league for me has been the same like that one. I can take my day off or whatever when I was working before to play the league, but I will never be able to start the league like from minute zero, basically, unless it is long before when I don't have actually don't have my family. I am before I got married, basically. I can do whatever I want, but right now, too bad. Okay, so that is everything for this video. I will try to make the build work, and stay tuned for the update for it. It will be a while though, because it will require actual character building and testing after the patch, because right now we cannot really simulate all the changes that is happening in this patch note. We need to wait for the 3.24 and also need to actually wait for the currency to come. So with this build, with all the changes, with a lot of nerfs in terms of defenses layers that we are using, with the nerf to the core mechanic of how we are dealing the damage, so we have to change to a new item here, which actually hinder the build a little bit, because it's not an armor item. So yeah, with a lot of changes, I will need to actually build the character and actually testing it out and see how well it works in the simulacrum. Wave 30 is still our goal here. Stay tuned. I have high hope that we can still do it, right? We can still experience the feeling that we had before while standing in the simulacrum with the new setup. So yeah, until next time, see ya. Please like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Peace.